We were talking about recovery here all morning as this city, as this state tries to bounce back from this. And someone brought up an interesting point that in some ways the recovery is based on the response. The response yesterday was so remarkable. They stopped the marathon midpoint and calmly moved some 5,000 people from the race course. There were moments of chaos right there, but they were able to clear the scene fairly well. What are your impressions of the response here in Boston so far?
I'm glad you raised that because it gives me a chance to make a point I've felt strongly about. In this terrible situation, let's be very grateful that we had a well-funded, functioning government. It is very fashionable in America, and has been for some time, to criticize government, to belittle public employees, talk about their pensions, to talk about what people think is their excessive health care. Here we saw government in two ways perform very well. First of all, the city government in charge moved efficiently and rapidly and bravely. Secondly, there has been seamless cooperation you've shown on the program. You don't know when it's state and when it's federal and when it's the city. I see the police commissioner on the screen with the head of the FBI in Boston and the governor. And that also goes to the recovery. Again, you know, I never was, as a member of Congress, one of the cheerleaders for less government, lower taxes. No tax cut would have helped us deal with this or will help us recover. This is very expensive. You have adequately described thousands and thousands of people examining every parcel, questioning people, checking things, providing the medical care. We're not asking people, well, do you have private health insurance or not? Do you afford this or not? Maybe the government's going to have to pay for it. And this is an example of why we need, if we want to be a civilized people, to put some of our resources into a common pool so we are able to deal with this. And to deal with it, you can't simply be responsive once it happens. There have to be in place experts in detection, experts in public health. So on the whole, I would say this is a terrible day for our society, but a day when I hope people will understand the centrality of having a government in place with the resources. And, you know, for Boston, this is an enormous expense. Let's be clear that the police, the fire, at a time like this, no one thinks about saving pennies. But going forward, I hope people aren't going to think, oh, okay, well, you spent these tens and tens of millions of dollars, which is probably a low estimate. Let's just take that out of everything we have going forward. So this is an example of why we need to provide the resources for our common good.
Congressman Barney Frank, thank you so much for being with us.